Hey everyone, my name is Scott, and welcome to Fort Lauderdale. I'm about to fly Spirit Airlines all the way home to San Diego, which wouldn't seem so odd if I hadn't just ridden the train up from the Miami airport. Why didn't I just fly one of American Airlines' 2 daily nonstops to San Diego out of Miami? Well, 3 reasons. Yellow airplanes, big front seats, and a much higher probability of experiencing something which would give me a valid excuse to include colorful profanity in the video. Okay, so the first thing you need to do before any Spirit Airlines flight, whether you're in a big front seat or not, is to eat. FYI, I paid nearly $18 for this chicken bowl and a bottle of water in the main terminal, which sounds like absolute robbery. I know. However, in comparison, spending $18 off the Spirit Airlines in-flight menu is only going to get you 2 cans of beer and a soda. See? I'm not quite as stupid as you think I am. It's been a while since I've camped out in the long corridor connecting the F and G concourses here in Fort Lauderdale, and I'm glad to see they're spicing it up with artwork and a library. I guess I don't really understand the library thing, but progress is progress, right? Yeah. As a resident of Southern California who never sees storm clouds that dark, I'm awfully tempted to unleash the first bit of profanity right now. However, I'm going to save it for later because this is a Spirit Airlines review and it still has the potential to unravel in the most horrific way possible. Would standing in the gate area hovering near the boarding door be the best way to take my mind off the menacing-looking storm clouds looming in the distance? Nope, I was back at the window 2 minutes later feeling worried as ever. Okay, I was gonna continue the time lapse without pausing, but that is the coolest backpack I have ever seen. Behold the Spirit Airlines big front seat. For those that don't know, it's the Spirit Airlines version of business class, which, as shocking as it may sound, is a very competitive domestic business class product here in the United States. If you can live without free food and drinks, it's an incredible value for the money. My only beef with these seats is that there are no USB outlets for power, which is kind of a big deal for a premium seat in my opinion. Is it profanity worthy? Not yet, but ask me again once we get closer to Houston.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome aboard Spirit Airlines flight number 619 for service to Houston, Texas.
There I go again, being all concerned about those storm clouds off in the distance. Call me a worrywart if you must, but how much you want to bet they'd put me on an American Airlines flight out of Miami if they cancel this one? If you're curious, I paid $297 for this big front seat all the way to San Diego, which means that chicken and rice I ate earlier was a whopping 6% of the ticket cost. Do I worry too much or what? I think we're actually going to get out of here on time. The storms have passed, the sunset is spectacular, and I'm actually feeling pretty good about the big front seat situation. Houston, we are on our way. As we climb out of Fort Lauderdale, I figure now is as good of a time as any to let you know that even though all Spirit Airlines aircraft feature the big front seats, the A319s have the most. There are 10 of these things on the A319s, but the A320s and A321s only have 8. What can we conclude from this? Well, perhaps, just maybe, it's the presumption that there's less profanity to be heard aboard the A319s. Yes, I told myself that I wasn't going to purchase any food on this segment to Houston, but I don't know. Once the flight attendant started coming down the aisle with the food cart, I was feeling awfully weak with an irresponsible temptation to spend some money. But I still have a 2.5-hour segment to San Diego right after this one, and whatever I eat now is going to be considered dinner. Okay, pressure's on. Do I do this or not? Nah, I'm just gonna wait for the next segment over to San Diego. Let's just hope I can wait that long. You know that game called Never Have I Ever? Well, the next time someone drags me into it against my will, I'm going to confidently say that never have I ever seen Houston look as good as I did on the evening of June 12th, 2019. Check out that sunset. So, that's it for the first half of this 5-hour transcon journey from Fort Lauderdale to San Diego, and I'm still feeling pretty darn good so far. The big front seat is as comfy as advertised, and I've got nothing to curse about yet. Well, there's still 2.5 hours to go, so it ain't over yet.
Remain on board. This is supposed to be a very quick turn. Once everyone deplanes, ticket agents will come aboard to collect your connecting boarding passes, so please have them ready for them and make sure that you are in the correct assigned seat. If you choose to deplane, yes, you do have the right to do so. But don't forget to take all your personal belongings with you. Nothing should be left behind. Thanks for your cooperation.
Since this is the aircraft that'll be continuing on to San Diego, I chose to stay on board for the short 45-minute layover. There were only 5 other passengers who remained on board with me, so it was kinda neat to hang out on an empty A321 for a while. Something I took advantage of while waiting was checking out one of the regular seats a few rows back. It's definitely tight, but nothing I'd call painful, which is a nice way of saying it's not nearly as bad as Air Canada Rouge. Oh, I also used the loo while here on the ground. However, I couldn't help but to wonder if maybe the guy emptying the tank at the moment got a surprise he wasn't expecting. Sorry, bro. And we're all loaded up and on our way again. It was a really quick turn here in Houston, and I'd estimate that maybe 10% of this completely full flight originated in Fort Lauderdale. You know the panicked feeling of trying to suck up as much internet as you can before departure? Well, just before takeoff, I realized at that exact moment there were only 123 pics on Instagram with the big front seat hashtag. I can only assume that means either nobody is flying in big front seats, or they are, but they're just ashamed to admit they're flying Spirit Airlines. Finally, the moment I've been waiting patiently for all afternoon. It's finally time to eat again, and thankfully I'm hungry enough now that I'm not completely offended by the high prices on the menu. I'm not gonna lie though, it definitely hurt to have to pay $11 for a few small wedges of cheese and a can of Diet Coke, especially when I paid extra for a premium seat. To put that in a more painful context, I could have ridden the Tri-Rail 3 times between Miami and Fort Lauderdale for the same price that I paid for this snack. $11 cheese wedges. Well, that was completely and totally unsatisfying. Maybe I should have done what QFS Aviation did on his flight from LAX to BWI. He spent $11 just like I did, but his choices were much more filling. See for yourself in the link in the description below. I can't believe it. That's the Coronado Bridge in the distance, meaning that I flew Spirit Airlines all the way from Fort Lauderdale to San Diego without one lick of profanity. Well, we do need to land without skidding into the ocean first, but I'm gonna go ahead and say that this was a pretty decent experience. With 6 inches of added legroom and 1 inch of extra width compared to a regular Spirit Airlines seat, these big front seats are definitely the way to go, especially if you're a budget-conscious traveler who has a taste for the finer things in life. Unfortunately, Terminal 1 here in San Diego does not qualify as being one of the finer things in life. So, you're gonna have to put up with what we locals refer to as the circle of death if you choose to fly Spirit Airlines in and out of this airport. Sorry. Finally, huge thanks to my patrons for helping to support this channel, and it's with their help that I've got a ton of fun content coming over the next several months. 2 trips to Europe and a trip to Japan is what I've got planned over the next 8 weeks, and you're gonna have to be subscribed if you want to see the footage from all those adventures. Anyway, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.